Tonight led by Director of Schools, Mr. Spurlock. Thank you, Mr. Spurlock. All right. Would everybody join us in a moment of silence? All right, next will be the approval of the agenda.
Second.
Thank y'all. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I would like to pull the Laverne track off the agenda and table it.
It's already on a separate one. The track, it's under facilities.
So it's been pulled from the consent agenda since last night? Okay. Okay. I don't think we were told that that was going to happen, so thank you.
Yeah. It's already there.
Thank you.
Okay, have a motion on the consent agenda.
Move we approve, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. No visitors. Textbook selection.
Okay, number 7, Textbook Selection Committee for Adoption of Textbooks found on tab 2. The names and qualifications of the following individuals under tab 2 are being submitted for appointment for the 2019-2020 English Language Arts Instructional Materials Committee upon board approval. The appropriate forms are included with the document, which includes the parents and the experts to serve on each respective committee. Motion to approve the individuals submitted to serve on the 2019-2020 English Language Arts Instructional Materials Committee.
Okay. Have a motion?
Move to approve.
Thank you, sir. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Stewartsboro.
Stewartsboro PTO Board Affiliation Request found on tab 3. Stewartsboro parents have come together with the school administration to start the process of forming a PTO. The organization has completed the initial steps required and drafted bylaws, and the school administration approves the formation of this organization. The members are dedicated to supporting Stewartsboro teachers, students, and staff through fundraising events and volunteer coordination. Motion to approve the formation of the Stewartsboro Elementary School PTO as presented.
Have a motion?
Move we approve, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
I heard somebody. Okay. Questions? All in favor? Say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Special education.
All right, Special Education Liaison job description update is for information only. This is one of the 3 positions that were allocated through the disproportionality. This is for the Special Education Liaison job description for the new position previously that the board approved. The job description addresses the work for at-risk students with disabilities to better align the use of disproportionality funding. This position would be utilized to assist students in day treatment and juvenile detention center by providing instructional support to decrease behavior.
Any questions on that? Okay, we'll move along. John Coleman Annex.
All right, John Coleman Annex / Head Start. This is information. Rutherford County schools are growing at approximately 1,000 students a year. Additionally, new legal mandates have required increased options for alternative school settings and mental health services for students. The combination of growth and required specialized services has created a pressing need for district-defined physical space. Currently, Rutherford County Schools houses the Mid-Cumberland Head Start program in and around half of the John Coleman Elementary Annex building under a lease agreement. Pursuant to the lease agreement between Rutherford County Board of Education and Mid-Cumberland Head Start, the Rutherford County Board of Education can terminate the agreement with 90 days' notice.
Okay, any questions on that?
Is there a motion on that?
So did we determine from last night's work session then that we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
With the decision to make?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
very good, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, facilities.
Facility use approved exemption pursuant to Board Policy 3.206, public education schools and institutions, post-secondary education institutions, private universities and colleges, governmental entities or agencies that provide benefits to the Rutherford County school system or have an in-kind relationship approved by the Director of Schools may request the Board of Education to allow an exemption from the use of facilities fee, which the Board may allow or deny based upon the details of specific requests. Motion to approve the following groups requesting fee waivers for the use of facilities to Policy 3.206. There is an asterisk on the Cub Scouts and the Girl Scouts, and that's pending a submission of approval of MOU, which will in turn have an in-kind thing that they'll be doing for the schools in which they'll be using.
We don't have to vote on that, do we?
No, sir.
Okay, facilities.
We do have a motion on that? Okay, we do, I'm sorry. Motion to approve the following groups requesting fee waivers for the use of facilities to Policy 3.206.
Any questions?
Have a motion?
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am.
While we're on this, can we kind of discuss this? I thought we'd decided on that we would use this for information only if they followed under the agreement that was set forth by the policy.
That's correct. We haven't put that agreement in place just yet, so we were waiting till we have those extra
Gotcha.
signed MOUs.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Facilities.
All right, facility request to purchase. The engineering and construction department would like to replace and update the track surface at Laverne High School in the amount of $199,934.70 to be purchased from Field Turf USA Incorporated using Omnia Partners Contract number R162203. This is an approved project from the Capital Project Funds.
A motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to move to table this project.
Do what? I'm sorry.
I would like to move to table this project.
I'd have a second.
Second.
And the reason why, let me explain why. I spoke with Commissioner Allen today about the situation that we're in with the bathrooms and the track. And she suggested that we just come back before them. They are meeting before the end of the year. And as a professional courtesy, to tell them that we are reprioritizing some of these cases that we have. I also spoke with Commissioner Blair today. And I think with us looking at a tax raise next year and some of the other things, we need to be taking care of our facilities, indoor facilities first.
Okay, we've got a motion to table and a second.
So I do have a question, if I may. So I don't know if we need to clarify the motion more or not, as far as I understand tabling it till the next meeting, but is it going to be written or drafted? Are we requesting that it be written or drafted in a separate fashion? In other words, whether or not those funds should be used elsewhere, or just whether or not they're being approved or not?
We need to reprioritize and then rewrite a motion, I feel.
Can I ask a question before we move forward?
Sure.
Overtime? Mr. Lee, we've recently dealt with other athletic programs, football, baseball, and their turf. And that is the booster club's responsibility to maintain those facilities. Can you tell me the difference? Why, I was asked by a parent, why are we maintaining track?
Let me jump in there, because, and I should have done a better job last night. The track is used for physical education also. It's used for special education students. It's used for our general physical education students. I mean, since they were put there, that's how they are used. So yes, it is primarily a track, and there are athletic teams that run on it, but we also use it for physical education, when time permits, or weather permits and things.
Okay, so unlike the other sports then, this would be used more year-round, and it's a multi-use facility, it's not exclusive?
No, and one of the other things, there's a big difference between what we call major sports and minor sports. They have no way, they don't raise revenue. Usually their revenue consists of maybe a fee or fundraising, or perhaps maybe sometimes some will do like a little concession stand or something like that.
Thank you for clearing that up. What percentage, what percentage of the time? Is it year-round? Is there any way to know?
Usually like for example, sometime here in January, early February, they'll condition, the track will start conditioning, and that will usually run into late May when they start, some of them will qualify to go to state and stuff like that.
And then for special education or for
Usually what they do on that, especially with some of your self-contained classes, will go out there on good weather and do their activity.
Okay, thank you.
So we're going into the winter season now, they're already projecting snow. We're coming up on the Christmas holidays. To me, it only makes sense to do the bathrooms when the students aren't going to be there, because they're not going to be able to do the fields anyway.
And I don't know if I passed this along to you, Mr. Lee, but the next Health and Ed meeting is going to be in December, not November. Did I send that to you? Or
Yes, sir.
did you get a copy of that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm going to make a few comments here. Like I mentioned last night, this thing's been passed once by the Capital Projects Committee. We passed it once. I think you just keep delaying it. There's no telling where it's going to end up at. We also told the county commission this is what we're going to do with the money. And as far as these bathrooms go, I believe Mr. Lee told us last night that the bathrooms have been taken care of. And if there's still a problem, he's not aware of it. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, I did. When we were made aware that there was an issue, I sent maintenance down there maybe a week or 10 days ago to fix the doors. I did ask maintenance today if they had received any additional work orders since that time, and we have not. So there may be issues there, but if there is, the principal or his staff has not requested any additional work.
But the bottom line
But that's
is
been going on for 5 years.
But the bottom line is, it's their responsibility to let you know, correct?
I would say yes, sir. That's why we have the work order system. If they see deficiencies or things that they need in their building, that's our process for getting things repaired, yes.
Secondly, I guess if they let you know, you're going to fix it.
Yes, sir, I will.
So, and you've got, how many schools scheduled next year to redo bathrooms for?
Smyrna, Laverne, Smyrna Middle, Oakland, and Riverdale. 5, yes, sir.
You've got 5 of them to do next year.
Yes,
So if you go ahead and do Laverne's, what do the rest of them think?
Theirs hasn't been done since 1988,
Well, Oakland and them, they were built in 72, correct?
but they've also had an annex.
Annex ain't got nothing to do with it. I'm talking about the
But when
main
they do
building.
the annex, they also update the bathrooms.
No, ma'am, we fixed one bathroom in the
they've
main
had
building.
something
Yes,
done.
yes, we did.
Then they've had something done there. This is insane that we're saying this is always, we've done it this way, that we're going to continue to do it
I'm
this
not
way.
saying that. I'm just saying if they had a problem down there, number one, did they turn it in?
That's not happening. That's
that's
not
a-
happening.
Well, that's an administration problem down there. It's not a
Well,
maintenance
that's
out
why
here.
I brought it to the attention of everyone, because it's not happening.
May I ask a question?
That's not maintenance's problem. That's
I'm
administration's
not
problem.
saying it's their fault, but somewhere, somebody has to be the adult in this situation and take care of our kids.
I understand.
May I ask a question?
Prioritize
Chairman?
things too.
Yes.
Mr. Lee, we hear bathrooms generally being said. How many restroom facilities, I mean, obviously not all of Laverne's high school restrooms are not functional. How many restrooms are we talking about that have been brought to your attention, percentage-wise, would be acceptable?
At this time, I would say all bathrooms are functional,
Okay.
meaning that doesn't mean that there's not a commode or something like that is out of order, but they are all still functional. If I'm not mistaken, the largest problem that we're discussing is the toilet partitions themselves.
Doors and the privacy.
The bathroom renovation is not only going to take care of the toilet partitions, but it's going to update and get us ADA, and it's also going to update and repair the floors and the walls. So the renovation is more than just the toilet partitions themselves.
Okay, so currently, how many unusable facilities? Now, I understand that the toilets themselves may be functional, but how many stalls are we talking about percentage-wise? Are we talking about a whole hallway worth of restrooms that are not really usable because there's no privacy? And it really comes down to the privacy.
It's a privacy issue, basically. I have not personally reviewed every single bathroom in all of these schools. I've sent staff members there to assist me in doing the budgets. So for me to give you a percentage, they all need work. Some bathrooms, it may be one stall. Some bathrooms, it may be all stalls. Some bathrooms, it may be 3. I cannot say specifically.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. You know, in listening to the exchange, I just kind of want to interject some thoughts of my own, because I think we're really getting into the weeds here. And perhaps this is just my opinion, but I'm going to share it. I think at the end of the day, the concern really stems from, and it's not really a debate over bathrooms and when they get done and when the money gets spent, but to me, a matter of, and I understand, Mr. Hodge, that this had already been on the budget and approved for this track to be repaired. But we continue, and I think I said this last night, to have conversations and to hear from constituents and see it in the press, concerns about how we're spending our money. We have needs in the classrooms. We have needs in our bathrooms. We have all of these capital. We have needs for chillers. We've got kids sitting in hot classrooms because our air conditioners aren't working well enough. So to me, it's very simple. I struggle approving a $200,000 capital funds expenditure when we need that money for more important items that do the things that someone said to me earlier that we're supposed to do, and that is keep our children safe and educate them. Thank you.
The flip side of that is if we've been having this problem 5 years on these bathroom petitions, why didn't you bring it up the last capital projects meeting? If we're having all these problems, I mean, we're sitting there prioritizing things and voting on it.
Mr. Hodge, to the best of my knowledge, I don't recall that it had ever been voiced as a concern before. I was not aware of it, so it's just been brought.
That short says it's been going on
And
5
it's not.
years.
Well, right, but it's
Mr.
not any less
Mr. Lee-
deserving of attention
yeah.
because of that.
Mr. Lee and I had discussed it before. It was on our State of the Schools, the $68 million. It was on that. It is scheduled to be done. But my thoughts on this is we're looking at this spending $200,000 on the track versus taking care of the bathrooms. I had no idea that the track was planned to be scheduled to be redone. And so that's when I brought up the issue. And that's when I spoke earlier this week with Mr. Chairman about removing this off the consent agenda. And I've also spoken.
It was on the list before we voted on it. I guess my point
At that
is,
time, I was not aware of the situations. I've had parents come to me since school has started.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to table. A yes vote would be to table. No vote would be to move on. Would you call the roll, Ms. Michaels?
No. Ms. Moore? Yes.
Ms. Sharp?
Yes.
Ms. Strion?
No.
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 Mr. Chairman, before we get too far away from this, number 1 and number 2 here at the bottom of this page, if Principal Ash had wanted something other than what's here, he's had ample opportunity to say so, and he did not say so. Now, I realize that really when you come right down to it, the director of schools runs the schools, but most directors, including I think this one, would like for the principal to handle major requests involving his school or to discuss it. That did not take place here. Also, it was said last night, and by the way, it's one of those things that just sounds great. It just sounds wonderful. When a commissioner says, I'm not going to vote for anything else other than if you have classroom needs and daily needs, that sounds wonderful. I was there when he said it. He said it more than once, actually. But if you followed that, you'd never get to this track. Ever. It'd just sit there and rot. Because we're always going to have classroom needs. And by the time we get all the restrooms taken care of, which is right here in front of us, just a few months away, there'll be something else. There's a whole long list of something else's. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
I'm pretty sure that I was. So, and I hate for Laverne to sit there and be the last one with a workable track for their kids, particularly a track program like theirs, which has always been very, very good. That's after the vote, and people can comment if they wish. Thank you.
Okay, we've got a motion to approve the resurfacing of the track, and a second.
No, sir, we don't have that.
We just voted on that.
That was voted down.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second it.
There's not actually a motion on the agenda itself, though, if I'm reading this correctly, if I have the most updated version. It does appear that it was moved off of the consent agenda, but number 12, facilities request to purchase, it just says the engineering construction department would like to replace and update the track surface at Laverne High School in the amount of $199,934.70 to be purchased from Field Turf USA, da-da-da-da-da. This is an approved project from capital project funds. So there's no motion attached to it. Was that changed and I just don't have an updated version?
Mr. Reed, I think we need you.
It's an agenda item, so this board can take whatever action the board wants to take on it, whether it make a motion to table it, to make a motion to approve it. It's an item on the agenda for the board's consideration. So if you want to make a motion to approve it, you can. If you want to make a motion to disapprove it, you can. If you want to make a motion to table it, you could, as you've already previously done.
Can I ask a question? I'm a little confused. That's different than what you said last night when it came to the Head Start program, that we needed to give sufficient notice that this was a votable item. So is that different? Why are they different?
The other item was not on there just as a bullet point. There was no description on the other item or at all with respect to the other school. Okay. To my knowledge, I think it was just an item written on there with no information below it at all.
Okay. Thank you.
So, yeah.
Okay, we've got a motion to approve the Laverne track, and a second.
Mr. Jordan.
Mr. Jordan, sorry. Call the roll on that, too.
Mr. Hodge?
Yes.
Mr. Jordan?
Yes.
Ms. Moore? No. Mr. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson? Yes. Ms. Sharp? No. Mr. Mr. Estes?
Yes.
Motion carries 5 yes.
May I ask a question to that point?
Yes.
Just to be clear, you said last night, Mr. Lee, that if we were to make the move to update those restrooms now, we would not be able to do the ADA compliant, it wouldn't be a full job, correct?
Upgrades are another.
Right.
So some bathrooms, we would have to survey each school and we have not done the ADA survey yet. We just got the information a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
So I haven't done that. Once we do that review, then they could be coupled together. Parts of the restroom renovation would also become an ADA renovation.
And you gave a 4-month timeframe for that ADA review of all of our facilities, correct?
All of our facilities, yes, but I would move these facilities to the front so that we could couple them together so that we don't spend money and then have to go back and redo it again.
And while we're on that subject matter, the bathrooms at both Laverne and Smyrna are not ADA compliant at the stadium. So that would be another situation that would come up about athletics and stuff like that in the future.
Yes, sir.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, another one for Laverne High School.
Laverne High School Principal Dirk Ash has requested permission to renovate the LHS letters on the hill in front of the school. Engineering Construction has reviewed the request and finds letters in disrepair. Mr. Ash has contacted the MTSU Concrete Management Department and found that local contractors to work with the school at a discounted rate. Cost to not exceed $13,000. Motion to approve Laverne High School request to replace the letters on the hill in front of the school, not to exceed $13,000.
Okay. We have a motion on that?
Well, before we get to a motion,
Okay.
that just seems like a lot of money. It might be used somewhere else. I don't believe I'm going to vote for that. And I know the letters, just saw them the other day. But I don't know. I can be convinced if somebody wants to give it a shot. That seems like a lot of money.
Do we have any idea what they're doing to it?
Yes, sir, it's a complete removal. The contractors that are actually doing the work are donating some of the fees. We're also working with the school to allow the ROTC guys to reduce the price. The ROTC is going to actually do the demolition and remove the materials to save the school additional funds, and most of this money is coming from the school.
Most of the 13,000.
Yes, sir.
Most of the 13,000, or that the 13,000 is going to be after their discounts and freebies?
The 13 is after the 13 is what the initial bid was.
Okay.
If it's
So that
approved,
is indeed
they can
what-
reduce this 13,000 possibly by as much as $4,000 if the ROTC does the demolition.
But we don't know that for sure.
13,000 is the max cost. Max cost.
Do these letters, and I'm familiar with them, but do they serve any purpose that anybody's aware of other than just an aesthetic kind of thing? Because
They're aesthetic. It's a flagpole or although a flagpole's a little bit different, but yes, they're aesthetic.
1,000 is not near as much as 200,000, but yeah, I understand what Mr. Jordan is saying. Thank you, Mr. Jordan.
There were rocks, I thought. They were at one time.
It was at one time. They're actually concrete. There's been concrete poured around them to make it smooth. And I'm not saying smooth like a concrete slab, but it's smooth. There's been additional work over the years, and it's in disrepair at this time.
Anyone else?
I hope there will be somebody else. I want to vote for this if you can just give me a good reason. I don't know if I wouldn't vote for 13, how would I vote for 9?
Anyone else? We have a motion? I guess this dies for lack of a motion. I'd like to get some more information on it. Thank you. All right, number 3.
All right, this is for information only. This pertains to the ADA mandate. We received this letter from, passed on from the mayor's office, where TDOT's over it, and then what it does is it requires us to go through and do a compliance report on all things involving our campuses. I think, as Mr. Lee talked about last night, it not only involves the egress and ingress to the campus, but also the facilities within the campus. Some things we've added some things back in the day when we were grandfathered in it does no longer meet the requirements. So this is a process that you'll be doing for the next several months.
Yes, sir. We have the forms, and it's a 4 or 5 step process for each facility, and it's in each individual restroom, each individual, so it's going to be quite extensive, and as we have time in between our other duties, that's what we're going to be using as, I don't want to call it fill-in time, but as we go by facility, we're going to peck away at, and it will probably take us 4 to 5 months. The county's been working on it for a couple of years.
Mr. Lee, question, if I may, Mr. Chairman. I know there was some discussion last night about the whole timeline and deadline of the mandates for all the ADA compliance and everything, and I want to make sure, did I understand correctly that as far as, especially like with the restrooms not being in compliance, are we technically out of compliance now based on any previous mandate that was given that we should have had these facilities up to speed in compliance with ADA?
No, ma'am. And what's happened is the facilities that were grandfathered prior to 1999
Right.
have still been sitting there, similar to what some of ours have. Some of ours, we've actually, as we've done additions or done renovations, we've voluntarily gone in and updated things.
Right.
To my understanding, what started is there's some rest areas that are not ADA compliant, and they were built before this, so there was no way to undo it. So the Department of Justice has come up with a creative way to withhold federal highway funds. That's how TDOT got involved. The DOJ's tasked TDOT with this, and TDOT's withholding federal highway funds if the counties do not update. It's a governmental thing. What they're doing is getting the governmental buildings up to speed. They can't do anything about the private sector, but they can do something about the governmental sector. And that's why they've given 10 years. We have to go in and identify them. Once we've identified, then we have to determine what we have to do to fix it and how much it's going to cost. And it goes all in a big, long spreadsheet, and it's by facility, by restroom, but it's sidewalks, it's parking lots, it's the roadway leading to the buildings. It's a fairly extensive undertaking, and that's why they're giving everybody 10 years to fix it, because they know it's going to take a long time to do.
Thank you for clarifying that, because that was my concern, was are we in jeopardy of being hit with any fines or anything because we're out of compliance?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Lee, you were very complete with that description. I think in the private sector, they would call it something else.
Yes, sir.
I think extortion comes to mind.
Okay, thank you. Insurance update, Dr. Anthony.
Yes, we went to the meeting today, and they told us that to not forget about open enrollment ending on November 1st. And then we had a additional speaker today, Danny Williamson from Life Services EAP. Many of our employees have the opportunity to take advantage of that for free due to the insurance. But they've added another component that they're going to be sending us some information on, free legal and mediation benefits through the EAP services. So that's something additional to be watching for. Mr. Elam also mentioned that the pre-diabetic plan has met the next phase, and that Omada group that's housing that has been approved. So we'll hear more information about that at our next meeting in November.
Dr. Anthony, and you brought us a spreadsheet last night with the new rates for the healthcare, the benefits coverage. Thank you for that, and I'm a bit embarrassed that I didn't bring it back with me tonight. But one of the things that I was looking for on there that I wonder if you can share with us is, and you may have already done this, and if you have, I apologize, but not just what the new premiums and everything are this year, but how much did they change from last year? In other words, how much of a hit did we take? You know, was it a 3% increase, was it a 20% increase, or is it not that simple?
Yes, Mr. Beaudry is the one that provided that yesterday, and so he's going to tell you a little bit about that information. So he's looking up a few extra percentages. He's going to be able to tell you the difference. And then the coverage for 2020 is the 81%. You know how we started at 84 and gone down each year. So he'll talk to you then in just a second.
Nothing like being put on the spot. Thank you.
You want to do this?
Yeah.
You look.
And we don't necessarily have to go over it tonight. If it's something you want to wait and just present maybe at the next meeting. It's not an urgent matter to me. I just was curious, so. That'd be awesome. Sure, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, we've got an add-on facilities that I overlooked, so.
This was of the Smyrna Professional Development Center. Engineering and Purchasing received the bids for the plumbing package for the Professional Development Center renovation on Thursday, October the 24th, 2019. 2 bids were received, with engineering recommending Maynard Select as the lowest and best bid. Maynard Select total bid with 1 alternates included is $40,700. These funds are from the capital projects. Motion to approve Maynard Select bid for plumbing package, bid number 3445 at $40,700.
Thank you, sir. Have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Director's update.
Yeah, just a couple of things coming up on Monday at Rockville at 5:30. We're having our town hall meeting. This will be a little bit different. It's going to be primarily focused on careers for our students from early age on up, is thinking about careers. We're going to have, of course, a couple of educators there, including myself and Dr. Sullivan and Ms. Pilgrim. We also have Paul Latour from the president of the Rutherford County Chamber of Commerce, Chris West, who is the Vice President of Human Resources at NHC, Monica Winter, who's the Director of Human Resources at Ingram Book Company, Greg Thompson, who's of Digital Solution in Schneider Electric, Fran Jones, who's a Talent Development and Education at Bridgestone Americas, and Paul Lawson, who's a Project Executive at Turner Construction. So if you can get out, we strongly encourage you to. Those of you listening, parents, we need you to come out. I think you're going to find it very informative. And there's some information that you can take home and think about. Second thing is on October the 29th, at the Parkview, October 29th at 6:30 at Parkview Baptist Church in Smyrna off of Lee Victory Parkway. There's going to be a Rutherford County Opioid and Mental Health Town Hall. Several panelists that will be involved there from our commissioners to some of our health people, and also some of our state reps. At that same time, however, the All Mid-State Chorus Choir is taking place at October the 29th. A lot of our students will be recognized there, October the 29th at 7 p.m. at First United Methodist. Over the near, what's that road it's on? Thompson Lane, that's right. Mm-hmm. So there's some great things going on there. We're going to try to have everyone at one of these events. Each one of these events.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Spurlock on those things? All right, Tennessee Legislative Network, Ms. Johnson.
Nothing this evening.
Thank you. Federal, Ms. Sharp.
No, Mr. Chairman, there's really not anything. Education Secretary DeVos had announced some opportunity zones for charters. Of course, we weren't in there, so we'll keep an eyeball on that to see if we get in an opportunity zone.
Okay.
That's it. Nothing really this week.
Thank you. General discussion? Okay, no general discussion. We're adjourned.